Today I'm going to be showing you how to install this slide drain flap, which is available to purchase on our website. This piece of vinyl right here represents the bottom of the inflatable you are applying the drain flap to. So just make sure your inflatable is deflated, the area you are applying your drain flap to is completely flat, and then follow with the rest of these steps. The first thing I'm going to do is round these corners of the drain flap, because rounded corners actually make the patch last longer because it is less likely to peel off. The next thing I'm going to do is take a white pencil and I'm going to trace the perimeter of the patch where I want to apply it to the inflatable. You can use a pen or a pencil or anything you prefer. These white pencils just specifically erase from the vinyl once you're finished with it, so you won't see it when we're done. Now that I have the perimeter traced, I'm going to open up this flap. And I'm also, while keeping the patch on the traced area, I'm going to trace a circle on the inside. This traced area right here, we're not going to be applying glue to, so I'm using this as a reference point so that when we start applying the glue, we'll make sure not to cover this area. Now that my area is traced, I'm going to take our vinyl cement glue, which is also available on the website, and I'm going to start applying it to the inflatable first. You don't have to apply a very thick layer of glue, but make sure that the entire surface is covered. Also, go a little outside the edges of your traced area because we want to make sure that all the edges of the patch are covered. So it's okay if you overlap the area that you marked. This is a clear glue and it will dry clear. So it's better to make sure that the entire patch is glued down and a little bit of glue is showing. You also want to make sure to do this in a well-ventilated area. I'm also making sure not to glue down this circle in the middle, but I'm going to do the same thing and overlap the line just a little bit so that we cover the entire area, but I'm just not going to fill in the inside circle. Okay, now that this area is glued, I'm going to do the same thing to the back side of our drain flap patch. I'm covering the entire area and being careful not to put any glue in the center. I'm also going to make sure I get all of the edges of the patch. Now that both areas are covered in glue, the next step is to make sure that the glue is a little tacky in texture and it's going to be a little cloudy. We don't want to apply it immediately after putting the glue on the vinyl. We actually want the glue to dry for about a minute or two before we apply it. So now that the area is a little tacky, I'm going to start applying the patch by starting in one corner and just lining it back up with that area that I traced before. Take as much time as you need to make sure it's nice and flat. Okay, now that I have the entire patch laid down with the glue, I'm going to open up this flap again. I'm just going to keep it open while the patch is drying just to make sure that this flap doesn't get glued down to the inflatable. You want to apply even pressure to the patch for about 5 to 10 minutes while the glue dries. If it makes it easier, you can apply stacks of books or other things to make sure that there's pressure across the entire patch. Now that I'm confident that the patch is dry, I'm going to take a seam ripper, which is available in our repair kits, or you can just use a pair of scissors, and I'm going to cut out this hole in the center of the drain flap. This is the vinyl that is attached to the Moonwalk itself. Just follow the perimeter of the circle and cut the hole out. Alright, I've cut the hole out. I've checked the perimeter of the entire patch to make sure that everything is glued down securely. And so now you have a fully installed drain flap to drain out water out of the bottom of your water slide.